in the village of Nkporo, lived a young man named Namdi, whose charm rivaled the moonlight on a clear night. His dark complexion was like the fertile soil that yielded abundant harvests, and tales of his handsomeness spread like wildfire, capturing the hearts of all the maidens in the village. He was the crown prince of Nkporo, the wealthiest village in the eastern land, and so he was the most eligible bachelor in the land. The villagers eagerly anticipated his wedding, but Namdi sought someone he deemed perfect. He wanted the most beautiful maiden in the world, someone who was perfect in every way. Prince Namdi hosted a grand village dance competition to find his destined bride. The beats of the drums echoed through the air as eligible maidens adorned in colorful attire gathered, hoping to catch the prince's eye. Dressed in traditional attire, Namdi strolled among them, eyeing each maiden. He approached Ada. Ada, you're beautiful, but I'm searching for someone with a bit more something, he said vaguely. Moving on, he met Chi. Chi, you are lovely, but I can't shake the feeling that perfection is still out there. The night passed, and Namdi continued his search. Yet no one met his elusive standard. Prince Namdi's father summoned Namdi to the palace. Namdi, I hear you are having difficulties finding a bride. I will send a message calling eligible princesses from neighboring villages so you can find a royal match. Okay, father, that sounds pleasant, Namdi replied. One by one, various princesses from different kingdoms came to the kingdom. Akosua, the Ashanti princess of Ghana, Anna, first daughter of Mulondo, the king of the powerful kingdom of Buganda in eastern Africa, Princess Nozizwe, the Zulu princess from South Africa, Princess Ade of western Nigeria. Yet none of these princesses caught the prince's eye. Word spread of Prince Namdi's selective search for a bride. Intrigued by this news, a cunning warlock named Oki decided to play a cunning game and teach the young prince a lesson. With a wave of his magical staff, Oki transformed into the most beautiful girl on earth and made way to Nkporo Kingdom to meet the prince. The transformed warlock, now a pretty maiden, caught the attention of everyone, especially Prince Namdi. The prince's eyes bulged, and his mouth fell open in shock and admiration. He had never seen such a captivating beauty. You are truly captivating. What is your name? The prince asked. Warlock, disguised as a maiden, replied. I am Nkechi, your highness. I have heard tales of your kingdom and searched for a bride, so I came to present myself to you. Prince Namdi, enchanted by Nkechi's beauty, found himself drawn to her. He spoke to her all day, and as the day went, their connection deepened, and Namdi was smitten. Nkechi, you are the one I've been searching for, he said. The most beautiful maiden in all the kingdoms. I'll love to have you as my bride, to rule by my side. Indeed, it will be an honor to be chosen by the prince of the great Nkporo kingdom. But first, you must accompany me to my village. My father wishes to meet you before our union, Nkechi replied. Excited, Prince Namdi agreed to embark on the journey with Nkechi. He went to his father, the king, to tell him he had found a bride and intended to visit her and seek the blessings of her father. The king was skeptical. My son, I've never heard of the village she is from, and as the crown prince, I think going to an unknown village is not a wise decision. The prince was adamant. Father, she insists she cannot wed without me going to see her father. I'll go with my guards. You've nothing to worry about. The king refused, but the prince threatened to go anyway, and the king reluctantly agreed, sending his most trusted warriors to accompany him. The journey was far, but they kept walking. As they traveled, Nkechi's appearance started to change. After a moment, she transformed from a beautiful maiden into the warlock. The prince was shocked, terrified, and scared. Before the guards could come to his aid, the warlock raised his staff and the guards fell to the ground. He laughed. Prince Namdi, you were so blinded by appearances that you failed to see the truth. I am Oki, a warlock who sought to teach you a lesson, he said. Prince Namdi, trembling, what do you want from me? Is it gold, cowries, or livestock? I come from a rich village and can give you anything you want. Your insatiable quest for love made you vulnerable. Now you shall be my captive until I decide your fate, the warlock said, and threw him in a small cell. Shocked and captured by the warlock's magic, Prince Namdi was locked in a small, dimly lit cell far away from home. His guards were defeated, and he was trapped. As he languished in captivity, Namdi struck up conversations with fellow prisoners, each sharing tales of their own misguided desires. Among them was Kosi, who was in the cell because of greed. Kosi was a very greedy man. He was a farmer but wanted more money, so he got a job as the Warlock's steward. The Warlock paid him handsomely, but Kosi was still greedy. He heard of the rumor that the Warlock kept precious gems hidden somewhere in his room in an old calabash. He ransacked the Warlock's room one day when he was sure the Warlock had traveled. He found an old calabash and broke it, expecting gold, but he found a green snake that bit him, paralyzing him at the spot. The Warlock came back and found him in that position. He knew instantly that Kosi had tried to steal from him. The Warlock hated thieves and threw him into the dungeon to rot. Young prince, life has a way of teaching us to be content, Kosi said. The prince missed his kingdom, his father and his friends. He remembered his father's warning and cried. He was so sad and sang mournful songs. One day, a tiny mouse, drawn by Prince Namdi's sorrowful tunes, squeezed through a crack in the wall. The mouse scurried back and forth, gnawing away at the prison walls bit by bit. Finally, a hole big enough for the prisoners to escape appeared after what felt like an eternity. The prince followed the mouse trail and made his way out of the cell. Soon, he was outside, blinking in the sunlight, and returned home as a humbler man. His father was happy and grateful to see his son again. Because of his horrible experience, the prince put away his search for a bride and just concentrated on helping his father rule the kingdom and serve his people. One day, as the prince strolled by the village with his guards, he saw Chinyere. He observed how she went around with genuine concern for those around her. He noticed her approach, an elderly woman struggling to arrange her goods. Chinyere, without hesitation, began assisting the old woman. Prince Namdi approached, his admiration evident. She reminded him of his late mother, who was beautiful but compassionate and graceful. "Greetings, Chinyere. Would you share a moment with me?" the prince asked. Chinyere, accepting the prince's company, joined him for a stroll through the village. As they conversed, Namdi discovered the depth of Chinyere's wisdom and kindness. Chinyere was born into a humble family. Her father, Obina, was a hard-working palm wine tapper who made just enough to get by. Her mother, Adaku, assisted by selling vegetables and handmade crafts at the village market. Days turned into weeks, and the friendship between the prince and Chinyere flourished. He loved how they could talk for hours without getting bored or tired. And he was captivated not by Chinyere's outward appearance, but by the genuine goodness that defined her character. One day the prince said to Chinyere, "You will make a beautiful bride and a good queen for our people. I do not want it any other way. Please marry me." With tears of joy, Chinyere accepted, and the prince made plans for the wedding. Namdi gathered the people for the wedding of the year. As the joyous festivities commenced, a swirling plume of smoke suddenly erupted in the center of the ceremony grounds. The warlock Oki emerged, his face contorted with rage. "You think you can so easily escape the lessons I meant to teach you, Prince Namdi?" Oki bellowed. With a wave of his staff, Oki summoned an enormous green serpent that slithered menacingly toward Chinyere. The wedding guests screamed and fled in terror. Namdi quickly stepped in front of his bride. "Leave her alone, Oki. Your quarrel is with me." "Exactly," Oki sneered. "You must best the serpent alone with no weapons. Only then will you prove yourself worthy of her love." The enormous snake reared up, opening its cavernous jaws. Namdi looked at Chinyere, then nodded resolutely. He dropped his ceremonial robes and dagger. The serpent struck, but Namdi dodged its lunges, recalling skills from his warrior training. He led the beast away from Chinyere. The crowd watched with bated breath. The mighty serpent pursued relentlessly. Just as it seemed Namdi's energy was waning, he spotted the tiny mouse that had once helped him escape captivity. It was no ordinary mouse, but an ancestral spirit whose duty was to protect members of the royal family during grave dangers. With lightning reflexes, Namdi dodged and hurled the mouse directly into the gaping mouth of the serpent. The confused beast gulped it down. Oki looked on in shock as the serpent suddenly began to convulse violently. The little mouse had managed to chew through the creature from the inside. As the mortally wounded serpent collapsed, Oki gazed at Namdi and Chinyere with newfound respect and vanished. in a swirl of smoke. The villagers celebrated Namdi's victory. Their wedding joyously resumed, marking the beginning of a wise and benevolent reign. This story simply explains the African proverb: the beauty of a seed lies not in its exterior, but in the harvest that it bears. Where are you watching from, and what lesson did you learn? Please subscribe to help me keep this channel alive. Thanks for watching.